Chapter 11. The episode of Subbayya Sreshti, Chintamani and Bilwa Mangala. The worship of Datta will give the fruit of worship of all gods. The birth of Sripada, an extraordinary lustrous happening. Next day, Sri Subbayya Sreshti narrated like this. Lord Sri Datta is an embodiment of all deities. By worshipping Datta, one can obtain the results of worshipping all deities. Sri Datta is inside all deities. Mother Sumati used to worship Paramashiva in the nature of Anasuya during the time of Sani Pradosha. Therefore, the intrinsic aspects of Shiva in Lord Datta reflected in the real nature of Anasuya, and they took birth as Sripada in the womb of Mother Sumati, who was on an equal plane as Mother Anasuya. It was a wonderful yogic exercise. Sripada was not born out of the physical union of the parents. Yogic lights emerged from the eyes of Apala Raja Sarma and Mother Sumati, who were in deep meditation. These lights combined and stayed in the womb of Mother Sumati. After the completion of 9 months, a brilliant form of light was delivered by Mother Sumati. By nature, Sripada was a personification of light. He was exhibiting some strange powers from his 3rd year. After Sripada, 3 sisters, Sri Vidyadhari, Radha, and Sureka, were born. On the day Sri Vidyadhari was born, a great scholar named Maladi Ramakrishna Avadani, who was a distant relative of Sri Bapanarya, came to their house. He had a son by the name of Chandra Sekhar. Mahalakshmi herself was born in the household of the Gandikota family as Sri Vidyadhari. All the relatives unanimously opined that it would be better if she became the daughter-in-law of Maladi family. Sripada also said that it would be better if his sister Sri Vidyadhari was given in marriage to Chandra Sekhar. The intentions of Sripada are accomplished without fail. His resolve is as firm and strong as a hard diamond. In consonance with his words, the marriage of Sri Vidyadhari and Chandrasekhara Avadani was celebrated on a grand scale in Pithikapuram in due course of time. Another sister, Radha, was given in marriage to Sri Vishwanatha Murali Krishna Avadani of Vijayawada, and the 3rd sister, Shureka, was married to Sri Tadipali Dattatreya Avadani of Mangalagiri. My dear Shankar Bhatt, the sportive actions of Sripada are unimaginable. There is a village called Tatankapur, Tanuku, in the Godavari region. There was a very pious family in that village that performed many great rituals like Vajapaya and Pundarika. The name of that family was Vajapaya Jula. There were close connections between the Maladi family of Pithikapuram and the Vajapaya Jula family of Tanuku. However, the family of Vajapaya Jula had faith in the principle of Idam Brahmyam, Idam Kshatram. They belong to the lineage of Parasara, comprising of 3 sages, Vasishta, Sakti, and Parasara. They followed Rig Veda. The Maladi family follows Yajur Veda. There were no suitable teachers to teach Rig Veda to the youngsters studying it in the state of Karnataka. In that connection, when invited, Shri Vajapaya Jula Mayanacharyulu from Tanuku migrated to Hoyasala in Karnataka. From then on, they were called Hoyasala Brahmins. They adopted the professions of Brahmins and Kshatriyas with equal ease. They underwent many difficulties to save Sanatana Dharma. Mayanacharyulu had 2 sons. One was Madhavacharya, and the other was Sayanacharya. Both of them were scholars of very high caliber. Shri Sayanacharya wrote commentaries on Vedas. Shri Madhavacharya undertook intense penance for the grace of Shri Lakshmi. When Sri Lakshmi appeared, he requested for the grant of extraordinary grace of Sri Lakshmi. Then, Sri Lakshmi told him, "My dear child, it is not possible for you in this present birth." He immediately announced, "Mother, I am taking to renunciation. Then it is a second birth for me, is it not?" Sri Lakshmi bestowed him with abundant grace. With his touch, any metal used to turn into gold. After renunciation, he is known as Sri Vidyaranya Maharshi. Sripada blessed him. In his 3rd generation in the lineage of ascetics, he will be born as Sri Krishna Saraswati. When Sripada incarnates as Narasimha Saraswati in the future, Sri Krishna Saraswati will be his guru for initiating him into the ascetic order. As his desire for worldly pleasures did not fully abate, he would be born in the future centuries in the family of Sayanacharya with the name of Govinda Dikshitilu. In that life, he would become the chief minister to the rulers of Tanjore and will be praised by all people as Rajarshi. This is all a prediction for the future. This is the course of destiny as personally decided by Sripada. His resolve will always become true. Therefore, this prediction about the future will certainly take place. When different deities are worshipped, the life force of Lord Datta replicates in those deities. It will transform into a new consciousness and fulfill the desires of spiritual seekers. If Lord Datta is worshipped, he decides the extent to which a particular task is to be performed by an aspect of a particular deity, and thus he protects his devotees like an eyelid protects the eye. Once, Dhruva undertook a rigorous penance for the grace of Sri Mahavishnu. Sri Mahavishnu granted him his boundless paternal affection. When Dhruva took birth in Kali Yuga, he instructed his followers to seek the infinite love and forgiveness of the Lord. Christ arrived to transmit the infinite love and forgiveness of the Lord. Lord Sri Datta is a supreme phenomenon. He is the basis for and also beyond both form and formless natures. That is his ultimate real nature. That is the primordial nature that has no beginning nor end. The true nature of Datta can be realized only through experience, and it is utterly futile to contemplate about it with logical intellect. The secret of the incarnation of Sripada Srivallabha is his encompassing ability to direct a specific task to be done or not done, or done in a different way. The nature of Sripada, who announced that he was none other than Dattatreya, was worshipping Kalagni Shamana Datta in his house. Once Bapanarya wondered about this and asked Sripada, "My boy Sripada, are you Datta or a worshipper of Datta?" Then he replied, "I become Datta when I say I am Datta. When I say I am a worshipper of Datta, I become a worshipper of Datta. When I aver I am Sripada Srivallabha, I become Sripada Srivallabha. Whatever I think, I become that. This is my nature." This was all very confusing to the grandfather. Then Sripada said, "Grandfather, both of us are one. In the ensuing birth, I am going to incarnate with a body that closely resembles you. You have a very strong desire to enter the ascetic order. It is not my resolve that you should be a monk in this life or in the next life. I want to incarnate with a body resembling you exactly in all respects and destroy all your karmic shackles and influences." Saying so, he gently touched the center point of the eyebrows, the focal point of consciousness of his grandfather. Sri Bapanarya saw for some seconds Babaji, who was in a state of undisturbed trance of meditation in the Himalayas. After some time, he saw him taking a bath in the confluence of Triveni, in the great pilgrimage center, Prayaga. He saw the form of Sripada afterwards. Then that image merged with the self-existent Datta in the Koteswara temple. An Avaduta came out of it. He saw that his daughter, Akhanda Lakshmi Saubhagyavati Sumati Maharani, was giving alms to that Avaduta. He again saw that the Avaduta took the shape of Sripada Srivallabha and was lying in the lap of Sumati Maharani. He observed that the little kid came out of her lap and changed into a youth of 16 years. That youngster saw him with profound looks and took a form exactly resembling him. However, that person appeared like an ascetic. That ascetic was walking majestically with his disciples after taking a bath in the confluence of two sacred rivers. That ascetic glanced towards him and spoke, "Oh, you appear to be discussing within yourself as to who I am. I am called Narasimha Saraswati. This is Gandharvapura." Within minutes after speaking these words, the ascetic threw his upper garment into the river, sat on it, and reached Sri Shaila. Great people and great yogis in Kadalivana prostrated before him. All of them prayed, "Great Lord, we have all been doing penance for many hundreds of years for your advent. Kindly make us blessed." After undertaking penance for many years, he appeared as an aged person with only a loincloth on him. With his extremely sharp looks towards Sri Bapanarya, he said that he is called Swami Samartha. After some time, he relinquished that body and transferred his life force to a banyan tree and merged his divine soul in the Mallikarjuna Shiva Linga at Sri Shaila. From that highly powerful Shiva Linga, a profound thundering voice was thus heard, "Bapanarya, you are indeed fortunate. I am unobtainable, imperceptible to speech and mind, infinite, a total embodiment of wisdom, and without beginning or end. By the power of your Kriya Yoga, you have brought me from the solar region through Shaktipata and attracted me into this Jyotirlinga. 18,000 celestials will worship me in the form of this Jyotirlinga for eternity. Those holy celestials will assist the people who adore this Jyotirlinga in their material and spiritual progress. As a personification of the Trinity, I am blessing you with my forms of Sripada Srivallabha, Narasimha Saraswati, and Swami Samartha. My dear Shankar Bhatt, the sportive plays of Sri Guru are unimaginable." After some time, Sri Bapanarya became his normal self. He saw Sripada as a boy aged 3 years with an innocent face smiling sweetly, facing him. This strange experience gave him heavenly sweetness. He hugged Sripada. For some time he was in a state of divine ecstasy. From that supernatural experience, he returned to the normal state and started the fire ritual. The way in which he typically performed the fire ritual was amazing. Generally, fire is generated by using sticks of an audambara and jami-tree, but Sri Bapanarya used to chant Vedic mantras after placing the holy samidas in the fire altar. Fire used to get generated and flames used to shoot. Sri Appalaraja Sarma also used to do the fire ritual like that. The worship of fire was there in their family. On special sacred days, they used to get down into the burning altar of fire and offer oblations. They used to not experience any harm to their body or clothes in this kind of fire worship. This is a wonder of wonders. Sripada's capacity to make things happen or not happen. On that day during the fire ritual, the fire did not get generated, in spite of Sri Bapanarya chanting Vedic mantras many times. Seeing the difficult condition of his grandfather, Sripada smiled sportively. The grandfather was sweating profusely. Then Sripada turned towards the fire pit and said, "Agni Deva, I am commanding you. Do not create an obstruction to grandfather's divine work." Immediately, the fire ignited and flames rose. Sripada took some water from his grandfather's water pot and poured it into the fire. Instead of getting extinguished, the fire began to burn very brightly. Seeing this, the grandfather was much more wonderstruck. Sripada averred like this, "Grandfather, you, Pinda Venkatapaya Sreshti, and Narasimhavarma are responsible for my incarnation as Sripada. Therefore, when you or my father receive any monetary or non-monetary assistance from Pinda Venkatapaya Sreshti or Narasimhavarma, it cannot be counted as a donation. Non-acceptance of such an offer will be considered as an offense against God. Such an assistance has to be regarded as the grace of the Almighty. My mother Sumati Maharani should not only be treated as the daughter of the Maladi family, but also of Sri Pinda Venkatapaya Sreshti and Sri Vatsavai's families. This is my edict." Appalaraja Sarma and Sumati Maharani were present there when Sripada declared this. By chance, Pinda Venkatapaya Sreshti and Narasimhavarma were also present there. Sripada said, "Without my will, even a great hermit like Sri Bapanarya cannot generate fire. The fire god will show his power when my father gets into the fireplace. If there were to be a change in my intention, Pinda Venkatapaya Sreshti will turn into a very poor person, and Narasimhavarma, who is the owner of many acres of land, will become shelterless. It is only with my intention that all of you remain in the current positions. I can make a beggar to be a king, and I can change a king to be a beggar also. I will fulfill all the wishes of my devotees who surrender to me. However, I will examine before granting whether that devotee can retain such elevated state and whether he will use his capacity and power for the welfare of the world. Whenever I find it necessary, I will turn earth into sky and sky into earth also." In Krita Yuga, when Bapanarya was living as Labhada Maharshi, he had a disciple named Mangala Maharshi. Once, when Mangala Maharshi was cutting sacred grass, his hand got wounded and blood flowed out of his wounded hand. That blood coagulated and turned into fragrant holy ash. He felt proud in his mind that he achieved such a great accomplishment. Then Shiva appeared and moved his hand playfully. A great quantity of holy ash showered as if mountain boulders from the Himalayas were falling apart. Shiva said, "In Treta Yuga, sage Bharadwaja will perform Savitru Kathaka Chayana in Pithikapuram. I showed you only a fraction of the holy ash that will accumulate in that great sacrifice." Then the pride of Mangala Maharshi was removed. All the listeners were dumbfounded and were hearing all that Sripada was saying. Sripada said, "One steps into this Pithikapuram only on account of the good merits earned over many births. It is of unspeakable significance that you are with me during the period of my incarnation. To experience my power, you must first become a rigorous spiritual seeker. Then, only you will experience my power, compassion, affection, protection and redemption from sin. My padukas will be installed in the house of Sri Bapanarya, which is my birthplace. I will drink milk in the morning in Pithikapuram in the lap of my mother Sumati. In the afternoon, Mother Sumati will feed me with little lumps of food. During nighttime, I will eat halwa 1 in the lap of Mother Sumati. I will remain in Gandharvapura in the form of Narasimha Saraswati, just as I am in Pithikapuram. I will seek Bhiksha in Gandharvapura exactly during midday. These will be clearly seen by those who have the sight of inner eye. Great personages, great yogis, and people of all countries will come to my darbar to have my darshan. Like rows of ants, they will dance in ecstasy, chanting Datta Digambara, Sripada Vallabha Digambara, Narasimha Saraswati Datta Digambara. The moment I give permission, all due tasks will be done at once. A great samsthan will be formed in my name. As my influence enhances, it will become difficult to purchase even a small patch of land, as small as the foot of a cow in this Pithakapuram. If necessary, I will drag people whom I consider as my own to Pithakapuram by holding their hair. Without my will, one cannot come to my samsthan in Pithakapuram, however rich he might be, or however great yogi he might be. This is confirmed and true. Be happy by realizing my real nature. This time will not come again. The powers of all gods whom a man can think of are within me. If anyone gives dakshina to me, I will multiply it 100-fold and grant him good merit when the appropriate time comes. Money has to be earned without violating dharma. Desires can be satisfied without violating dharma. By doing righteous acts, moha is destroyed. After moha is destroyed, liberation is achieved. My boy Shankar Bhatt, did you hear all these nectar-like words of Sripada? After this sacred teaching, Narasimha Varma took Sripada in his horse carriage the next day to see his fields. He had many acres of agricultural lands. Many varieties of crops were grown in those fields, but loofah plants were rarely flowering. After flowering, the tender vegetable was drying up. If some became big, they were bitter and not fit for cooking. Narasimha Varma submitted this matter to Sripada. Sripada became placid-faced and said, "All the members of our household like loofah curry made with dal. As the people in my house like it, I too like it." In ancient times, an aspirant of Datta undertook penance in this land. This holy earth is yearning for the touch of my feet, as I am verily Datta. It is expressing its eagerness to you in its language in this manner. When this earth receives my touch, there will be change in the nature of this Mother Earth. After that, this earth will give us very tasty luffa. Grandfather, send the luffa grown here to our house without any fear. I will eat that preparation of curry along with the members of this house. My dear Shankar Bhatt, wonder of wonders. From that day onwards, there was an abundant crop of luffa in that field. They also had a very good taste. Sripada got down from the horse carriage, along with Narasimha Varma, and roamed in the fields for some time. In the meanwhile, some tribal young men and women came there. All of them prostrated before Sripada. At that time, a divine illuminating halo formed around the divine countenance of Sripada. Sripada said, "Grandfather, all these tribals belong to my incarnation of Narasimha. These people regard Mahalakshmi as their sister and worship her. You are a devotee of Narasimha Swami. If you take their help, you may obtain the darshan of Lord Narasimha." Narasimha Varma thought that Sripada spoke like that playfully to tease him. He then responded by saying, "You Chenchu people, forest tribals, have you seen Lord Narasimha? Can you tell about his whereabouts?" For that, they replied, "What is so great about it? A mad person with a lion's head and human body is roaming in these forests. He's infatuated with our sister Chenchu Lakshmi. Our girl also likes him. We married them both. If you want, we will bring Chenchu Lakshmi and Narasimha also and place them before you." After speaking like this, those Chenchu youths ran away quickly. Narasimha Varma was seeing all this with wonder. Then he observed that a young man and a young woman were coming across their fields. Fortunately, I was also going that way. Sripada beckoned me to come near him. When I approached him, Sripada told me, "Subbayya Sreshti, whom do you think are those people coming from a distance? They are Bilwa Mangala and Chintamani. Collect some tree twigs. We will make fire with them. We can see the farce." Narasimha Varma and I started perspiring profusely. Those visitors were indeed Bilwa Mangala and Chintamani. There was no doubt. They visited Sri Krishna in the pilgrim center Guruvayur. Fortunately, they later visited a great yogini Kururama. She blessed them involuntarily that they will get the darshan of Sripada Srivallabha. Under the influence of her blessing, the seeds of devotion and detachment sprouted in them. They visited Sri Narasimha in Mangalagiri, and from there they were coming to Pithakapuram to have the darshan of Sripada. Both of them prayed in Mangalagiri. Thus, if the blessing of great yogini Kururama were to fructify and we receive the darshan of Sripada, who is not different from Datta, we request for your physical darshan as Sri Narasimha Deva. On account of the efficacy of the blessing of that centenarian great lady, who was a great yogini, they obtained the darshan of Sripada here. This was a wonderful matter. When the fire of broken twigs was raging, Bilwa Mangala and Chintamani felt immense agony as if their bodies were put on a funeral pyre. After some time, some black shapes, closely resembling them, came out of their bodies and fell into the flames, and they cried bitterly. When the two black images were completely burnt down, Bilwa Mangala and Chintamani regained their consciousness. By that time, the forest tribals came there with their sister Chenchulakshmi. They tied tightly the hands of Lord Narasimha and produced him before Sripada. Such wonderful and strange things did not take place in any yuga. In the program of Sripada's incarnation, miracles and sportive plays were countless and unimaginable. Sripada questioned like this: "Are you the Narasimha of bygone aeons? Is this Chenchulakshmi your wife? Are you the one who killed Hiranyakasipu and protected Prahlada?" For that, Lord Narasimha replied yes 3 times. Chenchulakshmi and Lord Narasimha merged in the body of Sripada in the form of a brilliant light. Chintamani transformed to be a great yogini. The tribals disappeared. Bilwa Mangala became a great devotee and came to be known as Bilwa Mangala Maharshi. Sripada announced in the lands of Sri Narasimha Varma, where all these strange and weird incidents happened, a village by the name of Chitrawada would come about. His will is truth. His will prevails.